Welcome to Down the River Podcast, Episode 5. My name is Landon Little.
And this is Brent Clark.
And today we are with Lee from Fort Wayne Industrial Revolution. If you just want to give us a rundown of what you do, Lee, with the Industrial Revolution.
Well, it started with, I moved to an apartment downtown, and I needed a coffee table and an end table, so I couldn't find anything interesting that I would enjoy. So I ended up making it and found some ideas where I started burning some wood and using black iron pipe, and that's how I started it. And then I needed some shelves in my bedroom, and a vanity, and a stool for my girlfriend, and it just kind of kept going from there. And some lighting, that's where the lamps come from. And so yeah, I've been kind of reached out to before and to make a couple things like a table. There's a table at Cyclone Social that I did. And then a couple lamps that I've contracted or have had contracted out. So yeah, my stuff's a little scattered all over the town right now, but kind of just started with a coffee table.
So so it was a hobby that led into somewhat of it's essentially it's a business now. Were you just like posting pictures of like your stuff that you were doing at home, and then that kind of led to people in town saying, hey, that's pretty cool, we'd like to get one, can you make one for us?
Right, so I posted a picture of a lamp that I did with a really simple toggle switch and a couple USB outlets, and a friend who reached out and said, I'd be interested in that. So I kind of thought, well, I could create an Etsy page and kind of see where that goes, and it kind of took off for a little bit. I've sold a few things on there, and I kind of found that posting on Instagram locally was more effective than posting out there. And I kind of want to keep everything local anyways, just to put my name out there, and because I really love the city and the community, and to be able to give back to that community is what I really want to do. So what I want to do now is I've been looking online for like Fort Wayne, things I made in the 30s and 40s from Fort Wayne, and then turn those around, and hopefully like something like GE Works would be interested in something like that, because it's from Fort Wayne around the time that GE Works was, or GE was facilitated.
Getting that hard wrought iron, raw wood type of feel to it.
Yeah, that'd be great if I could. So if you guys know anybody from that organization, have them call me.
Yeah, I wish I did. I have some ideas of myself. So, go way back. Have you always liked to, we're looking at this lamp you made out of an old microphone right now on the table. Did you always like tearing things apart, making new stuff out of them? Is this kind of a newer thing in your life?
This is really recent for me. It's only been going for about a year, but I have to credit my dad, who owned his own business and built houses from the ground up. And so a lot of that thinking outside the box and learning from him has really contributed to what I do right here. Electronically, the electronics background that I get is from the United States Air Force, and then I worked at BAE Systems for some time, and now I work for Harris, and it's all electronical, and most recently for cables for me. But yeah, so it started way when I was really, really young and working for my dad, and that's how I learned how to build things and work with wood.
Very cool. So what's your favorite piece you've made so far?
I recently did something for my son. My parents owned it started with my grandfather, but my parents bought into property that was my grandfather's, an airport in Wells County. And so I grew up around aviation my entire life, and it's still aviation today with the National Guard. And so I took an old salvaged RC plane, and then instead of the propeller coming out of it, I've got two 12-inch bulbs coming out of it, and it's above his head, or as a headboard in his bed. So yeah, that's my favorite one because that's for him. Another one I did was a old GE fan, and Marla from Three Rivers Distilling bought it within like 10 minutes of me posting it, but it's a touch lamp. That was pretty neat. So beautiful colors on it, but that was at the time my favorite one, but now it's my son's lamp. He thinks it's really cool to turn off and on with the switch.
So on your website, do you have a gallery of all the past projects you've done, or some of them, or?
Yeah, everything I post is everything I built myself. There's a couple inspirational pieces that are in there. scattered throughout. But everything I make, I post it almost immediately. And there's a couple pieces where I've already sold. People have come to me and said, "Can you make?" I've made 4 of those lamps that are made out of really old fans. The 2 of them were already contracted out, so I had to find them and work with them on pricing, and then I just made them and turned them around already. But I've got one that's sitting in my closet right now that's ready to sell. So, but yeah, so sometimes I see something online, I want to make it. I just want to see if I can challenge myself to make it. So this microphone, you guys had posted a picture of a microphone, and I immediately reached out to you guys and said I've always wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even have this yet. And
Well, that was pretty quick then.
It was
I
really
remember,
quick.
I remember that first message you sent us on Instagram, and then you sending back like, what was it, like a week later or less than a week
it was
later?
done. It was. I told you guys already. It was a pretty easy build once I tore it apart and put it back together. So the more I do these things, the more it's. I kind of already know what I need to do. Know the materials that I need, and I can turn stuff around a little quicker every day.
How do you go about like the steps? Like you said, you already know like the products and everything. What kind of steps do you go in finding those products? Because I'm assuming you don't go to your like local hardware store to find these old pieces. I'm sure you could beat them with chain. I've seen people beat wood with chains to make them older. You said burn, but do you try to keep your items like as vintage as possible, or I know you can't with like the galvanized pipe and stuff, but
It depends on the customer. So House of Furniture contracted me to do a table out of barnwood, and he wanted it, or their customer wanted it really, really rustic, beat up for a desktop. Well, I was concerned about if you're writing on a piece of paper, it would poke through. So convincing them, I smoothed it out as much as I could with keeping the integrity of like old nail holes in it, or a couple of the knots that had been rotted out. I kept those in there, but so that something like that I can keep relatively beat up over 100 years, but smooth it out. And then I've built a few items where people really like that burned wood idea. So to rough it up even more, to get that grain to come through, I just got a simple drill with a wire brush on the end, and I go 45 degrees one way, 45 degrees the other way with that, and then just take away that soft wood and keep the rough grain there. And then that's when I start charring it with a blowtorch, just a real simple blowtorch, and then that's how that comes about. So it depends on what whoever needs or whatever I'm feeling, if I'm doing it for like a consignment type of thing.
or just for fun.
Just for fun, yeah.
So what's one of the most exotic, I guess?
So I can't really target that down, narrow that down, but the most exotic thing, so the fan lamps that I've done, the cluster that holds all the sockets and then the wiring that's involved, that's very time consuming. I had to figure that all by myself because there's no videos about how to do it. There's just videos of they did it. And that was really hard. Some of the lamps I've done for Three Rivers Distillery, and I had to figure out how to have the cork fit up into the black pipe without it sticking down. Because I've seen like where having that black pipe nipple sticking down, I wanted the cork to be right up flush with the pipe. So I had to think outside the box and use plastic PVC and cut it down and epoxy it. So it's a lot of trial and errors with that. But I haven't really worked with a lot of exotic woods other than just some rough live edge coffee tables.
Yeah,
so.
I think I saw one. It was like a live edge with, did you do a concrete?
Yeah, so that's at Cyclone Social, and Andrew asked, and I were talking, we were in New York together, and I said, I'd love to do a coffee table for you because he was looking for something. Originally, it was going to be out of just straight up epoxy with some wood in it. I've never worked with that much epoxy before, but it warped the frame that I was working with. So I had to start from scratch, and I told him about half a concrete and then half cedar concept. And I show him a picture, and he's like, yeah, go whatever. He's really laid back, really cool guy. And so I framed it up again, sanded down the cedar, and then we had to drill rods in the cedar, then pour concrete in the other end. But since I've never done that before, it was very time consuming, and I didn't do it at my house. I did it at my parents', so it was driving 40 minutes to Bluffton every week to work on it, and sanding down concrete and wood at the same time to level it off. And yeah, so that was really challenging.
It turned out fantastic.
Learning experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm afraid to show the picture to my wife because she'll want one. So where do you? Well, I mean, without revealing trade secrets, can you get the live edge fairly easily locally?
Yeah, so I know a couple people south of Allen County. There's a gentleman that we spoke about earlier that has live edge. If you want some more really exotic or large pieces that I could talk to. Honestly, Craigslist and the Facebook realm of marketplace is a good way to see who's doing what locally. There's a few people in Ohio, so a good friend of mine wants to do. I did a bar table for him out of black pipe, and he wants to do a live edge table when his house is done. So we're throwing out ideas right now how to what he wants and how big and like how that's going to look, you know. So we've got until like July to figure it out. So
Plenty of time.
yeah.
So you already got plans for beginning of this year.
Yeah, I've got a few things kind of working right now with some people with lighting, and then that table, and then a gentleman from Matt Anthony wants me to do a live edge countertop in his kitchen. So.
Ooh, in his own personal kitchen.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say something with the remodel, and you had
I
something
would
coming
love
in
to.
for that.
But I couldn't turn something that fast. They were
Yeah,
doing one in 2 weeks.
That's pretty short notice. So do you have any big plans that you could reveal for 2018? Any big ideas? Maybe, I mean, I'm thinking something like you could possibly start like a YouTube channel, because I've been seeing a big trend on YouTube with just, what is it, like blacksmith people and people with presses crushing things. And
Right,
like,
yeah.
it just seems like people have a fascination with like,
What do they call it? Engineering porn?
yeah, it's something like, here's the start product, and then here's the steps I took to get the end product.
Sure.
Have you been considering doing anything like that?
I did at one point to see if I could get my name out there, but I don't know how that marketing stuff kind of works yet. So what I want to do, and I've tried to put it out there, but the same lamp I did for my son recently, I want to actually take a real bowl from an aircraft nose cone and use longer lighting and use that in a bar. I really, like I said, really like to get into GE Works project. I don't have significant big plans currently. I'm kind of going to be serving our country here pretty soon, so
Right.
I'm going to be absent from that for some time.
Right, and that presents a whole nother set of challenges for you because you can't necessarily have all these contracts lined up.
Well, that's just a hiatus then. Then he comes back with a bunch of new ideas.
Yeah, I'll have some time to.
Yeah, take the sketchbook.
Yeah,
Bands do it all the time, and then they drop an album.
yeah. Seemingly the stuff that I really want to get into and try, it's just hard to tell somebody that for like an aircraft nose, just the ones that on the low end cost $500 just in a product, and then going from there, it's it keeps going up and up and up. So to sell that up to somebody who's never even met me is kind of hard.
You'd have to
so.
find the right buyer.
Yeah.
Plus, you'd have to probably have a portfolio to back up that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I do good work.
Yeah.
My stuff is cool.
So I've had an opportunity to work with Tammy from the Urban Hippie, and she immediately took to taking doing like a consignment type of thing with me. So she's been great. But a couple of the stuff I got is in there right now.
Is that like, I can't remember. Do they have like a wall piece and a table?
They have
'Cause
a
I thought-
fan lamp, and then they have what is called an old radiant heater bowl. And I just changed the socket in the bowl painted it up, and then just put a light bulb in it. So it was, and rewired it. So it was a fairly simple task, but those are pretty popular for the that old industrial, what's old is new type of idea.
Yeah, it's very popular right now. You see a lot of people doing it.
Especially with the fans. I know my parents had a couple of old General Electric fans, and our neighbor ended up was like, I want them. Those are
Yeah.
cool. Like, I love how they work.
Yeah.
And
Some good
yeah.
friends of mine actually bought some fans that I wasn't going to do anything with immediately, and I think they just used them for some decorative pieces.
I mean, just whatever. It's just all that's coming back, and I think like definitely like TV shows and stuff. Everybody's watching those shows now on TV, and they're just like, I want this in my house. Where's somebody? I need to find somebody that can
Mhm.
get me this product. And Fort Wayne Industrial Revolution is one of the guys that can do it for you, and it's all local. So this is definitely an option for anybody looking for any kind of that stuff you're seeing on TV.
Yeah. So, I guess, do you have any plans of opening maybe a shop here in the next 3 to 5 years, where people could come in, kind of see some examples of things which you're currently working on?
That'd be the idea to do it. I'm kind of a career guy otherwise, but this is a hobby that I do right now. If I could set up something, I'd like to, have like a stockpile of it. And right
Yeah.
now I don't have a stockpile of it, so right now I just do it for fun and kind of talk to people, and they say they want to turn something around. So like my friend who wants to do that table, I'm not going to build a table right now and do that and then have it sit on it for a couple years. So right now it's word of mouth, and it's gone very well. And down the road I would really like to do that, but right now not in the immediate future.
Yeah, I tell you, the day jobs will kill you.
Yeah.
It seems like that's one of the things though that gets a business rolling is that we've kind of been seeing that it's either people make what some people have called like the leap, where they just go all in 100% into it, and then we've seen also where it was kind of like a hobby, and then it kind of just got the ball rolling, and then before you know it, 2-3 years down the road, that's what they're doing.
Right.
So it's kind of good to see that you're at the start of it. I mean, you've already got a great start. You got cool business cards. You're actually doing consignments and stuff with local shops. So
It's kind of original idea I have right there.
it definitely is. Yeah, because I mean, when I told Brent about it, he thought it was super cool. He's like, "Oh, how'd you get in touch with him?" And like,
Oh yeah, I was blown away that you were even interested,
I
because
was like, he actually reached out to
once
us.
Landon showed me the pictures. I was like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that I love. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you feel like you said that? Are you from Bluffton? Did you grow up in Bluffton and stuff?
Yeah, just north of Bluffton. I went to Norwell.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you feel that growing up in that area, because we're from Poe, Hoagland area,
Yeah.
do you feel like growing up over there influenced kind of going into this? Because that's kind of country farming. You get the old barns, you get the old wood.
No.
No, not at all.
Like I said, my dad put me into that position where in the summertime he would take us to work, me and my 2 younger brothers, and that's what our summer job was. And so I had aunts and uncles who farmed, and that's what else we did in the summer. And then I grew up on that small airport, so that's all I really knew growing up. And then when most recently when I moved into where I'm living now, the guy who changed everything inside this old beautiful house, put concrete countertops in. There was already one shelf or a couple shelves that had some black pipe on it and stained wood on it. I just thought it was really neat. I really liked it, and so I incorporated more of that into my apartment. And that's when it started really changing for me. It's like I really like this industrial look, and you go to like Clemmy Street and they've got that old style, and I've always loved that style. Or CS3, they've got that same look to it. Exposed brick's really neat. I've always liked that. I lived in Midtown for some years, and I always wanted to see what I could do with an exposed brick on one of the insides, and So I guess I've always kind of liked that look of it, but I guess I never really took to it until this past, last year around this time. So
Cool.
Very cool.
So, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. Is there anything that you want to throw out there or say about website, where people can reach you, your social
EVP, always be
medias?
plugging.
yeah, so you can find me on Facebook at Fort Wayne Industrial Revolution, or on Instagram the same. I do have an Etsy page right now that I'll put some products on here by the end of this week, and that's it. So that's where you can find me. We could probably take a picture of the business card and
Yeah,
post
I
it.
got them. Yeah.
And-
So if anybody's listening to this today, yesterday I posted on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the pictures. Got a few shots of some of his stuff. I got his business cards. That'll be the first picture you'll see is his business cards. He's got these cool
Burnt edges.
burnt edges on these.
That's just little grocery bags that it's like, I'll take paper.
Grocery bags. This
Yeah.
is a grocery. That's even better.
Nailed it.
I thought you went and bought this paper and
No,
put it on
what's-
grocery bags.
What's old is new. you
Yeah.
know?
Reclaiming everything. But yeah, you guys need to check out this on his social media and stuff. Got to go give him a follow. I mean, it's just cool stuff to look at. And if you're interested, you can always reach out to him and probably work something up with him or whatever if you have any ideas. He's got stuff too that you can look at. And
Some things I like to do is just spend time seeing how whatever you want I can find. I'm a big fan of eBay or the interwebs anyway, so that's something I've always liked. Is like trying to find the best deal where I can get it. So
See, I'm a big fan of just stalking auctions.
right,
And you show up, you can buy random stuff for pennies.
yeah. So
or estate sales or stuff.
I want to get an old industrial valve like you would see at what's that kids thing? The big Science Central.
Science Central.
Oh,
Yeah, they got some stuff in there, and I want to turn one around and make it look like a bar table. So, an old pipe valve. So,
But finding it's part of the process. Which,
or affording it. I've seen some online for like 15 grand. So,
but hey, you saw this. You saw
chump
you,
change.
you showed us pictures of this mic that you made, and there was people charging through the roof for it.
yeah, yeah,
And you found it for
way less.
way better deal than what they were charging.
So, but yeah, thanks.
But yeah, I think that's going to be it for Fort Wayne Industrial Revolution. Like I said, check out our social media. Check out his social media. The post that I posted the day before. It's going to have all his links and everything, where you can reach him, where you can contact him, his email. But yeah, go check it out. It's a lot of that stuff that you guys are watching on TV. I know everybody's watching those TV flea market shows and house designing shows. What he has and what he's making is what you guys are seeing on there, and it's here in town. So thank you, Lee, for hanging out with us today and giving us your story about your hobby becoming a business. I'm going to say it's becoming a business.
It's a side hustle.
It's a side hustle that, yeah, I would say it's definitely becoming a business. You guys will definitely see things in the near future with all of this.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to the podcast. I hope you really, really loved it. You guys know we are trying to bring our best to the podcast. So whether you are walking your dog, traveling to or from work, or just cleaning the house, I hope this brought just a little bit of value to your day. Since we are new, it would be greatly appreciated if you could share this or just tell a friend about us. Thank you guys.